Welcome to Jazz Time! Jazz Time is an online store that buys authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com. Today we'll be reviewing the RM0701 Automatic Winding Intergalactic Dark Knight in Black Carbon TBT. I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this watch, then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar RM01s. Then I'll tell you about where it stands in the lineup of other similar RM0701s. Then I'll tell you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement. Finally, I'll try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with a little history. Now, the 0701 is Richard Mille's best ladies collection. Now, they only really make two ladies collections. One is the 0701, the second is the 37. And why do I say that? The 0701, which is what I'm holding here, this is the family or the line or the collection of watches that Richard Mille makes, and it's because of the size. The RM0701 is the only tonneau-shaped watch that fits most women. It has the dimensions of, let me check here, the dimensions are 45 by 31 by 12. And so that means from top to bottom, it's going to be the strap to the strap. The 12 to 6 o'clock position is only 45 millimeters. That's quite small. And if you look at the 37, RM37, it's 52 millimeters, which is actually even longer than most men's watches. Most men's watches stop around 50 millimeters, so it's just going to be way too large for most women. Whereas this 45 millimeters is totally fine because it has the dimensions of 31 going left to right, which is the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and 31 is considered mid-sized. That's what most mid-sized watches, for example, like the Rolex Datejust are. And just 12 millimeters thick. That is not too thick, it's just an average thickness. A little bit thick for ladies' watches, but arms are supposed to have some presence to it. So by and large, the reason why the RM0701 is good is because of those dimensions. Now, with that said, it came out about 10 or so years ago, something like 2014, 15, somewhere around there, and it actually had an RM07 before this, and then there were some minor updates becoming the 0701. Okay, so that's not a history 11, but let me get you a little background here. Now, the 0701, because it has its perfect dimensions, they keep on making different variations, and they'll continue to do those variations of it, which leads me to the next part of my talk, which is where it stands in the lineup of other similar 0701s. Now, this is part of the Intergalactic collection, which is one of the 4 major models of this. The Bright Knight, the Dark Knight, which is what you're looking at here. They may also have the Misty Knight and a Starry Knight. I'm not going to go through all of them except to tell you that the one right here is the Dark Knight. And in my opinion, it's actually the best looking of all, and even though it's the cheapest and in my opinion, it's actually the best looking of all of them, even though it's the cheapest and has the least number of diamonds, I still think it's the best. And I'll tell you why when we do the review. And most people would probably have to agree with that because this is why this one is the most sold, and this is why we're having this video here today, to make it for you. Okay, but with that said, this is the Intergalactic, and it was released somewhere around October, November of 2022. And if you remember, around that time, watches were at an all-time high, and it was really the peak of the market when they released. Now, whether that's a coincidence or not, who knows, but it was impossible to get back then. They were trading super over market, but finally in 2024-25, they got a little bit easier to get, or at least the prices came down a little bit, and they're selling for more or less just at retail plus tax, which is somewhere around 260 to 270K, which is of course a lot of money, but for RM, it's not, unfortunately. So anyways, with that said, that's a little bit of the background. Now, they do make other 0701s. They make them in ceramic, they make them in gold, white gold, rose gold, with diamonds, without. They even make colored ceramics, so basically anything with the dimensions, now shape for the ladies. So basically anything with this dimensions and shape for the ladies, it's going to be part of the 0701 class, and they're going to make other variations of that, alright? So let's start talking about this watch here itself, and let's start with the most obvious thing, which is the head of this watch, or the case. Now, the case is going to be using this carbon TBT. And what is so special is that they do carbon TPT in other 0701s, but they never did quite do it so intricately with these interspersed diamonds, gold kind of interspersed without. And they really keep this idea of intergalactic. They use these little gold beads. I don't know how they put them in. They embed them in somehow in the carbon TBT, which I don't think is very easy. And they embed these super small diamonds here and there. In fact, the number of diamonds, I couldn't count them all. So I looked at the certificate. It's 51 diamonds, and it has a carat weight of only 0.081. That's very little. Now, most people would not be proud of having low diamonds, but I think Richard Mille is actually proud of putting super small diamonds and very few of them because most companies try to put as many diamonds as possible. Richard Mille, being Richard Mille, does exactly the opposite, but what they do really well on this is that they do an artistic way of making it look like a star exploded or something, and it's just the pattern on here that you have to agree it looks very beautiful, and they intersperse these little tiny diamonds all throughout. Now, each carbon TPT is going to be slightly different. Although they look very similar, it's going to have its own little pattern. And so these little dots that you see, these are all done in gold. So there's these little gold beads, and if you actually look at this with a loupe or magnifying glass or something where you could blow it up somehow, at the end of each sort of disbursement of gold, there's a diamond. And then from that diamond, it kind of disperses out into gold, which I think is kind of representing a star that exploded or something. And that's what gives it this intergalactic name. But it doesn't say so, but that's what I feel like they are doing with the artistry of this. And you can see it also, not only does it look chaotic, but it actually has order to it. So if you look at the top and the bottom of it, if you slice the watch from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it's actually symmetrical from the top to the bottom with some small variations, but still. And if you look at the center of it, it's still carbon TBT with gold kind of just spread out in some kind of really cool intergalactic pattern. So anyways, I think they just did a great job with it. And if you look again, even at the side of the case, now if you look at the other intergalactics, they have different cases on the side. If you look at this intergalactic, which is the Dark Knight, I think they just did such a great job with the pillars are done in carbon TPT, whereas in the other cases they are made of gold, which I think is a nice touch here. And they interspersed all these gold dots throughout and the diamonds. These really, really tiny diamonds interspersed with that. It just looks like it was splashed with a big bang or something and a star exploded even on the side of the case. So they really, really just paid attention to this and spread it all throughout. In fact, they even did that little explosion on the crown. So if you look at the crown, I guess this would be a rubber crown or something, but they interspersed gold onto the rubber crown. I mean, I've never seen another company do something like that. And if you look at the work that is done on it, it is just incredible. Anyways, well, let's look at the case. I told you it was 45 millimeters top to bottom, 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 31 millimeters going left to right, 9 to 3, and 11.85 or 12 millimeters in thickness. So it is a very nice size. Now let's move on to the dial and the movement. All at the same time, so the dial is actually skeletonized so you can see through it. And then if you turn it over, look at the back, the movement, really, it's a thing to behold. It is a thing of beauty. It is a caliber CRMA2, and it's an in-house movement. I think it's actually the first in-house movement that Richard Mille actually did, and they did it on the ladies. It tells time only, so it doesn't tell date, but that's all it needs to do because it really just looks fantastic. It has 25 joules. If you look at the movement itself, it's not like they built a circular movement and then just kind of slammed it into that 10-0 shape. They actually built this 10-0 shape movement so that it fits perfectly in this watch only. And I think that's really one of the beauties about this movement. You can see through the back, and it's that gold rotor on the back, which is also quite beautiful, very Richard Mille-esque. And they just did a great job at skeletonizing it so that it looks very sporty, but at the same time, it's a lady's watch with all of this other stuff, and it makes it look very elegant. Okay, so I'm not actually going to bore you with all of the technical details of this watch. They sent some stuff up on their website, which actually you can go on their website and read about it. So you don't need me for that. But I'm just going to talk about it very broadly. So I've talked to you about the movement, the case, now the strap. Now the strap here, it is on a rubber strap. It has a gold buckle, which I think is a pretty nice touch to it because the gold kind of matches, for example, the crown. And you see on the crown, it has that little bit of gold. And so they put these gold accents throughout, and I think it matches it quite well. You could also change it to a canvas strap or a Velcro strap, which I think would be a nice touch as well. Okay, so now it is time for me to try this on my wrist and give you my thoughts. So I kind of told you earlier that the Dark Knight is actually my favorite one of the Intergalactic series. Now, our RM makes a lot of good-looking 0701s for the ladies. And the basic classes would be their ceramic or their basic RM 0701s. They have their intergalactics, they have their colored ceramics, so they have their basic collections that they have. And of those, I really like the Dark Knight. I think it looks the best of all because it actually has less diamonds and it doesn't look too showy or too flashy. It looks very casual, but yet incredible. And I like the 07s because of the size as well. So look, if you would like to buy this watch at the lowest price anywhere online, please click the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.